Hi, welcome to the third episode of Ahead of the Game. This video is for those of you who don't know who I am and what I have done. And those of you who know me well and you're my friends, please just skip this video. I'll be embarrassed if you have to sit through my self-introduction. All right, so I've been working in the game industry for 36 years. It's a long time. It's pretty much the only thing I know how to do in this life. I have passion for making video games, for playing video games, for helping people release, develop, publish their games. And yeah, it's been a long journey. So also consider this video a documentary, self-documentary, leaving my mark in this life. All right, so I started programming since I was 14, and it was an Apple II computer. And since I was a kid, I like to take apart toys and figure out how they work, try to put them together. Obviously, when I was younger, I couldn't put it back. And then I was able to put them back, repair them sometimes. Once in a while, I improve them. When it comes to video games, I was like, oh my God, holy shit, this is fantastic. You can do things in these code that can bring so much joy, so much fun. So I started playing games, I guess with Pong, and then Pac-Man, Space Invaders. Well, Space Invaders first. That was black and white with a color transparent stickers on the screen. And then Pac-Man, holy crap, that was color. I was born and raised in Taiwan. My father is an American. And I guess when I was 18, I started working on projects, working on titles, and I made a fortune-telling software and made some money. I sold 6 entertainment titles all by myself. I did the art, did the programming, did the music. I wrote the user manual. I designed the packaging. I convinced book publisher to sell my software. So that was fun. I made 6 software packages in 2 years, all by myself. And then I went to Silicon Valley after reading the Silicon Valley Fever. It's a great book. And I feel like that's the place I wanted to be. Obviously, before I went to Silicon Valley, I submitted my resume to Electronic Arts, and they wrote back with a nice email, rejection letter saying, "Dear Electronic Artist, unfortunately, blah, blah, blah." It's kind of funny. The guy who who declined my application or submission became my coworker, my colleague down the road. That's another story. So in 1986, I started published my titles, and in 1989, I went to Silicon Valley. I went to I went to Sony first in Monterey to work on CD-ROM mastering because I was a good software engineer, and I got along with Japanese engineers really well. And I understood the CD-ROM yellow book format very well. I was good study. Yeah, so I got to really understand CD format, putting data in CD and reading them back and mastering CDs. So EA hired me to be the programmer for John Madden Football and for 3DO for the launch of 1994, and the game was on a CD. So yeah, that was cool. It was hard work, and it was the first 3D football game in the world, American football game in the world. The first game, well, one of the football games. the first football games on CD, I'm sure. We can get into detail of that in a separate episode. Anyway, I was at EA for 3 years, and when I left EA, I was a senior software engineer. And then I went to Capcom, and I joined Capcom as a technical director, and so I could oversee different projects. And then I made a lateral move to producer, and I was at Capcom for 3 years, and I had quite a few different bosses. One of them, my Japanese boss, was Yoshiki Okamoto, and Okamoto-san was the creator of Street Fighters, and he taught me everything I know about studio management. And he's a great guy, very colorful person, and I learned a great deal from him on game design and on productions in general, and studio management, and also the ethics of game productions. That is also suitable for another separate episode. But I was in and out of Osaka every month for a while. And then I was at Accolade for 3 years. Then I went to, did I say Accolade? I was at Capcom for 3 years. So EA 3 years, Capcom 3 years. Then I went to Accolade. And you guys, none of you guys would know Accolade. They later got acquired by Infogrames. And Infogram later changed its name to Atari. That's probably a name that you could recognize. Anyway, I worked on Test Drive Off-Road series. And I was a senior producer, and then later executive producer, and then later studio director. We had a lot of developers at Accolade. And again, that was a lot of hard work. I made a lot of good friends, a lot of good comrades at Accolade. But you know, at Accolade, that was the first job that I didn't really get to program anymore. I felt like a cheat for a while. You know, all my job was management. Going to meetings, writing report, reading people's reports, helping them solve their problems. That was a lot of work. And somewhere between EA and Capcom, I went to PMP or PMI, Project Management Institute, and got a lot of training for project management. So that was helpful. That was very helpful, actually. It provided a structure with my management. In 1999, I left Atari, and I started my first business called Zona, Z-O-N-A, and it was a network middleware company for the game industry. And we supported Xbox, Sony PlayStation, Nintendo GameCube, and PC. I don't think mobile was a platform back then. So anyway, that was also a lot of hard work. It was the first time I run my own business, and sold the business in 2003 to Shanda. And Shanda was the biggest game company in China. I had to move my family and the entire company to Shanghai, and I eventually managed 460 people of game production staff, and that was something new and interesting and challenging. It really puts my project management skills to test. And Shanda went public, I think 2004, and on NASDAQ. So I left somewhere in 2005, started on my second startup called Radiance, and we developed MMO racing games and MMO sports games. One was a beach volleyball game, another one was Go-Go Racer, and that was cool. And then in 2009, mobile started to come in, and then obviously Facebook browser games started to show up, and the market sort of moved away. So in 2014, I merged Radiance into iDreamSky. I moved to iDreamSky in Shenzhen, so that's a different city in China. I was in Shanghai for almost 11 years, then I moved to Shenzhen in 2014. And the same year, iDreamSky went public on NASDAQ again. So I licensed Monument Valley By the way, I was doing mostly business development when I was running my own business, Radiance. So when I went to iDreamSky, naturally I would be doing business development. So I licensed Monument Valley, Toy Blast, Homescapes, Gardenscapes into the Chinese market, along with 50 other titles. Cats from Zepto Labs, Horizon Chase from Aquarius, and yeah, a lot of other titles. So I got to fly all over the world, speak to developers, and bring those titles into China. I was at iDreamSky for a little over 6 years, and during the pandemic, I left the company and joined Jinke. Jinke is another Chinese they're listed in China, and it's very hard for a Chinese company to get listed in China. iDreamSky couldn't do it. So Jinke acquired Outfit 7, and Outfit 7 is the creator and owner of Talking Tom. That's quite a culture shock for me, because I've never joined a purely domestic Chinese company before. I brought in Sonic Dash 1 and 2 from Sega for Jinke, and then Jinke incubated this crypto project, and they asked me to take a look and help it out, and that was Miracle Universe. That's how I stepped into the world of Web3. Yeah, so I guess that's long story short. So I have a lot of production and technical background. My school background was computer science, and from programmer to producer, and then to a business guy. Yeah, so that will provide you some background. When you're watching my video channels, who am I? What am I about? I'm for Web3. I think this is going to be the next big thing. I was there when games went from cartridges and arcade onto CD. And then I was there from games being single player to multiplayer to online to massive online. I was there when games went from premium, meaning you pay per copy for each game, to freemium, which is free to play, and you pay as you see fit. And I was there when games moved to mobile, and I'm here when we're applying blockchain technology into video games. And I think this is a big deal. I do have my view on fair launch, meaning you don't launch NFT, you don't pre-sale NFT before you launch the game. I also, I don't like Ponzi. I think the business model, the revenue model in video game industry work and have worked very well. We don't need to bring in Ponzi-nomics into game industry. And there are quite a few of us who are agreeing with my assessment. Anyway, I think that's long enough for one episode. I noticed I couldn't leave comments below my video, so please let me know somehow. Let me know if you have the same trouble. All right, thank you.